We all miss Toys R Us, right? Many of us grew up with it, we're extremely nostalgic for it. Some of us were even lucky enough to take our kids to Toys R Us before they all shut down and we lost our big box toy stores here in the United States. Recently, Toys R Us has been making comebacks of sorts, popping up into Macy's stores and even some smaller specialty locations. I came across one of those small locations recently while traveling, and I kind of want to talk about it. Hey guys, I am Pixel Dan. Thank you for joining me for another video here on the channel. I want to take a quick moment to say if you like what you see here today, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It does help me out quite a bit. We've got a whole mixture of toy topics here on this channel. Some Saturdays are toy reviews, and sometimes I just want to talk about things related to the toy industry, like Toys R Us popping up in airports. Did you guys know that there is now a Toys R Us in the Dallas-Fort Worth airport? Well, recently while traveling, I had a stop at the Dallas airport and happened upon this Toys R Us. Now at the time, I was actually kind of surprised. I came down from the Skylink, and as I was coming down the escalator, that classic Toys R Us sign greeted me, and I was surprised. But I quickly remembered that I had read something about a Toys R Us opening up in the airport, and here it was, opened, accepting customers. Upon seeing that Toys R Us sign and the Geoffrey the giraffe statue welcoming me on the outside, I felt happy. I felt nostalgic. Toys R Us is here. That's amazing. Of course, I've got time before my next flight, so I've got to pop in here and check it out. So I walk into the store feeling a little happy and nostalgic and optimistic, and pretty quickly looked around me and realized I needed to get some footage of this place because I had a feeling I was going to want to come here and talk about what I was seeing. So we've all seen the Toys R Us that has shown up in Macy's stores, right? The Toys R Us, which is essentially some signage and some shelves with the same toys that we see at a lot of the other retail stores like Walmart and Target, but probably even a little bit more expensive. For me, I never got it. I don't think it was meaningful in any way. It just felt like they were trying to capitalize on the brand recognition of Toys R Us to make some additional sales at Macy's. I mean, and that's literally what it was, right? We've hit this point now where so many of the things that we're buying is being sold to us based on nostalgia. And I know I'm wrapped up in it with everybody else, right? Here I am, still buying He-Man toys, still buying Ninja Turtles toys, because these are things that I've always loved and I've got that nostalgia, and it sells, man. Nostalgia sells. Nostalgia is what I consider the #1 reason why we're all toy collectors. It's why we're in this game. And yes, there are so many amazing independent toy companies out there making new and original product. And yes, there are so many fans of that. I want to make sure I acknowledge that because I know it's out there and it's amazing, and I want to see more of that because everywhere else it feels like we're just being sold the same ideas over and over again, and Toys R Us is no different. So let's think about what Toys R Us was, right? When we think about how things were in the 80s and in the 90s when we were growing up, walking into a place like Toys R Us meant discovering things, right? We were going to walk in there and we were going to find new things that we had never seen before. Sure, we were always going to go check the Star Wars toys or the He-Man toys or the Transformers. We were going to ask for some of our favorites for birthdays and Christmas, but you always walked into a place like Toys R Us and you discovered something new. This is the era where toy companies were making anything they thought of, right? It wasn't always based on an IP like everything has to be today. This is kind of where all the IPs came from. They were throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks, which made for incredibly fun toy aisles. And having a place like Toys R Us was key to that because this was an entire store dedicated to nothing but toys. Today, we are basically stuck with nothing but Walmart and Target as retail stores here in the United States, who each have shrinking toy sections, right? There are limited aisles that the toy companies are all essentially fighting for space in so that they can sell their products. And in today's world, the only thing they're really gonna sell us is IP, because they know it's gonna sell and they have such limited real estate to put things in these stores. It's a vicious, terrible cycle, and it's why there's so very little creativity out there these days. Again, I am not knocking all the cool toys that we are getting. I'm not saying it's a bad thing that it's all IP, because we're obviously all getting some very fun stuff out there, and I know there are a lot of really great toy designers who do a good job and care about what they're doing. I just mean that how often do we really walk into the toy aisles these days at Walmart or Target and see something brand new that's fun and exciting? You basically walk down the boys section at Walmart and you see the same things. Ninja Turtles, Transformers, Godzilla, Star Wars, WWE, Minecraft, you know, modern IP too, video game, maybe Masters of the Universe if your Walmart hasn't gotten rid of it like mine, and Hot Wheels, and that's it, right? That's essentially it. So, losing Toys R Us was a big blow to the toy industry as a whole. I still stand by that. Not having proper space for these toy companies to try different things stifled things, so that we're basically stuck with this IP, this stuff they know is going to sell, in this very limited shelf space at places like Walmart and Target. So that brings us to today, where we keep seeing Toys R Us is coming back, Toys R Us is coming back, and then we get things like Macy's. Well, they've started opening some specialty stores. I know there's one in that mall out in New Jersey. I haven't been there yet, so I have no experience with it, but we're also getting these smaller little shops like the one here at the Dallas airport. Let me jump back to that. I know I got way off track. I want to talk about this a little bit. So this is a tiny little store. Fine, it's in an airport. You wouldn't really expect it to be like a massive toy store. But the thing that I noticed immediately upon walking in is that the store is primarily for two different things: Lego and Funko Pops. One whole half of the store is nothing but Lego, and that's great. Lego's incredible. And then a large chunk of the store, both some of the end caps in the middle and the back wall, is nothing but floor-to-ceiling Funko Pops or other Funko-related items. So you basically walk in here and you're seeing just the exact same stuff that we're seeing at regular retail stores, or the same stuff that we're all being seen shoved at us at conventions, like walls and walls of Funko Pops. Boom, there it is right here in this Dallas airport Toys R Us. But wait, was there anything else? Well, yeah, of course, there was some other stuff here as well. In fact, looking at the back wall, I actually saw some of the action figures that you might hope to see at a place like Toys R Us. I found some Transformers, albeit they were all Rise of the Beasts, which was a movie that came out like, what, last summer? And it was pretty slim pickings. Same kind of stuff that we saw sitting at Walmart for months and months at a time just last summer. And they do have a Star Wars section, again, pretty slim pickings, and it's mostly just Black Series figures that have been hanging out on pegs for a very long time. I mean, look, it's just like the basic Mandalorian figure here. And look at that price tag. Yep, that's the other thing about this. These Star Wars Black Series figures are $40 a piece. And the prices like that throughout the store are kind of like this. So I guess it's exactly what you expect, right? Toys R Us was always a bit more expensive because it was a specialty store. We used to always joke about the Toys R Us tax here. So now you're thinking about the fact that it's got the Toys R Us tax, it's in an airport, everything in an airport is already overpriced. So now we are essentially stuck with a store that's carrying the same stuff that we would see at any other regular big box retail store, and it's mostly older stuff, and it's extremely overpriced. Which leaves me wondering, what is the point in this store? Who is the target audience here? I was standing here and I was looking around, getting some shots of some stuff, and I heard right outside the door a little kid say, "Oh my gosh, it's Toys R Us, can we go in?" And that made me feel a little happy hearing that. But the child's dad immediately said, why? What are we gonna find in there that we won't find at Target when we get home? And at first I was like, oh, that's poor kid. But I'm looking around and he's right. There's nothing in here that you couldn't just walk into Target or Walmart right now and get for way cheaper. In fact, most of the stuff that's in here is outdated. It's stuff that people didn't want, and that's why it's still sitting here. Lego, totally different thing. Lego's great. Maybe you want to pick up a Lego set to build on your way to vacation or something. But for the most part, I just don't see it. I don't know what this store is here for. So this really just leaves me wondering, is that it? Is it over? Is it time to let go of this want to see Toys R Us return? I guess I shouldn't point out or mention, yes, I know that Toys R Us is still around in Canada. Every time I talk about this, everybody always makes sure to let me know that they've got one in Canada. I know, lucky you guys. But here in the US, like, this is what we've got. This is what we're stuck with, stuff like this. And aside from seeing some of the cool signage that was in here, seeing some of the displays, I just didn't feel good when I left this store. Instead, it made me realize that this probably is over. Toys R Us as we knew it is probably not coming back. The Toys R Us that they're planning to open now with these little stores is in name only. They are selling us the name. They are hoping that nostalgia is going to get us to come in here and maybe pick up a $40 Star Wars toy just because we're buying it at a Toys R Us. And I think that's all they want from it. I don't know, maybe I'm way off base here, and I really do hate being so negative. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but I am trying to look at this realistically. Like, look, I want to love this stuff. I want to be happy and excited about being at a Toys R Us or seeing a toy store again, but we've all seen the way this stuff is trending. We've all seen the articles saying that we as adult collectors are like the primary audience for toys now. I don't know if I agree that that's a good thing, because I do feel like all this stuff is going to die with us, and no, it's not going to matter anymore after us, and maybe that's fine too, because it's making us happy, and I suppose that's what it's truly about, right? It's supposed to make us happy. But I don't know. I just left this store feeling like that was it. It was time to let it go. Toys R Us is probably not coming back the way we want. I will say that the lady, the very nice employee that was in there, mentioned that they are planning to open something like 22 stores in the US. I didn't find any way to verify that information. That's just what she was telling everybody that was in the store, was that there were plans to open 22 stores. And I have no idea if that means they're all going to be these weird little shops inside of airports and malls and stuff like that, or if they have real plans to bring a real toy store back. If the latter's true, I would love that. I would love there to be a real dedicated toy store, and I would love to see the toy industry really start booming again and being able to come out with all kinds of cool stuff because there's a toy store to pay for it again and stock it again and give us a place to go shop for it again. I just really don't know if that's gonna happen. I feel like maybe that's behind us now. And it kind of sucks. But we just got to keep moving forward and focusing on the things that make us happy. I guess let me know what you guys think. You're going to let me know what you think. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of comments on this. And if you guys think I'm way off base, if you think that I am wrong or being too negative about this, that's totally fine. Please let me know that. Or do you agree? Or do you agree with some of the things I said and not everything? I think this was a very interesting topic. Like, it just really had me thinking about it. I couldn't stop thinking about it when I left that store, and just like how I didn't feel good. Like, I just felt when I left there, which is what led me to want to talk about it here. So again, hate being a downer. I like it when toys are fun and exciting. This made me feel the opposite. Oh, I guess I gotta be a little fair. This Toys R Us did have at least one thing that you couldn't buy anywhere else. They had their own exclusive Funko Pop, which I bought because I too am a sucker for nostalgia. We didn't get a Toys R Us bag. It's just like a duty-free bag. Just adds the overall ugh of it all.